Asterisk, when you think of America's wealth, you probably imagine innovation, hard work, and the American dream. But what if everything you were told about how this wealth was created was only half the story? What if the foundations of the richest nation on earth were built on deception, manipulation, and carefully hidden financial lies? Today, we're diving deep into the hidden truths behind America's rise to wealth. Truths that are rarely taught in school, and truths that could change the way you see history, power, and money forever. Asterisk, by the end of this video, you'll understand how some of the richest fortunes, the booming industries, and even entire economic systems were not just a result of hard work and ingenuity, but of manipulation, secrecy, and calculated deception. Setting the stage, early American finance. Asterisk, to understand America's wealth, we need to start at the very beginning. The 18th century, a young, growing nation, desperate for capital, desperate for trade. The colonies were largely agrarian, yet they had ambitions that far outstripped their resources. Early America relied on borrowing. In fact, from the Revolutionary War onwards, the young nation carried enormous debts. The very creation of the United States' first financial systems, banks, treasury bonds, and early stock markets was intertwined with necessity and manipulation. Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of the Treasury, understood something crucial. To secure national power, you needed not just money, but the perception of wealth. The federal assumption of state debts and the creation of a national bank wasn't merely about fiscal responsibility. It was about controlling the narrative. A fledgling nation appearing solvent and strong, even when much of its wealth was borrowed, leveraged, or simply promised into existence. Asterisk, and this pattern would repeat itself across centuries. For every dollar of reported wealth, a hidden shadow often trailed behind debts, speculation, and sometimes outright fraud. The rise of industrial America. Asterisk, fast forward to the 19th century, the age of railroads, steel, and industrial monopolies. America was booming, or so it say, amid behind the shimmering skyscrapers and glittering fortunes. Financial deception was rampant. Take the railroads, for example. At their peak, they were the backbone of America's industrial might, moving goods, people, and wealth. Yet many of these companies were built on inflated valuations, insider trading, and outright fraud. Investors were promised returns that could never exist, and tycoons like Jay Gould and Cornelius Vanderbilt knew exactly how to manipulate markets to their advantage. This was the era of the robber barons, a term meant to evoke greed, but in reality, it barely scratches the surface. These men understood that wealth was not only made in production, but in perception. Stocks were manipulated, companies over-leveraged, and public trust exploited. Asterisk, and when the bubbles burst, as they inevitably did, the public suffered, while the elite often walked away with fortunes intact. Sound familiar? The pattern is repeated over and over in American history. Perceived wealth grows faster than real wealth, and someone always pays the price. The breaking point, early 20th century crises. Asterisk, by the early 20th century, America had become a global financial powerhouse, but the cracks were visible, even if most ignored them. Speculation ran wild, stocks, bonds, real estate, all fueled by borrowed money and optimistic projections that bore little relation to reality. The 1920s saw a stock market boom like no other. People from every walk of life were encouraged to invest, to believe in endless growth, yet behind the scenes, insider deals, overvalued stocks, and hidden leverage were rampant. The financial elite created an illusion of prosperity, and then, in 1929, the illusion collapsed. The stock market crash wasn't just a natural cycle, it was the inevitable consequence of decades of deception, manipulation, and the systemic creation of paper wealth that had no solid foundation. Millions lost jobs, homes, and life savings, while many of those who engineered the system had already protected their fortunes. This was the first major lesson. Wealth built on lies always has a breaking point. Asterisk, post-war boom and suburban deception. Asterisk, after the Second World War, America seemed unstoppable. The economy surged, suburbs expanded, and consumerism became the new religion. But Avenir. The story is not what it appears. Government policies, corporate interests, and financial institutions crafted narratives that exaggerated prosperity. Mortgage lending practices, tax incentives, and aggressive marketing created the perception of middle-class wealth that, in many cases, didn't reflect real financial stability. Consider the housing boom. While millions believed they were building real wealth through homeownership, many were trapped in mortgages that were sustainable only in an artificially low-interest, high-growth economy. The illusion of prosperity depended on continued growth. But as history would later show, growth alone does not guarantee stability. Even the iconic post-war boom owed as much to financial engineering and perception management as to real productivity. Modern America, debt, inflation, and corporate illusions asterisk fast forward to today, and the story remains eerily familiar. The United States is the world's largest economy, but much of its reported wealth is built on debt. National debt exceeding $35 trillion, consumer debt climbing, and financial instruments so complex that few fully understand them. Corporations report massive profits while using accounting tricks, stock buybacks, and offshore tax havens to inflate perceived value. Housing prices soar, often disconnected from actual local income levels. Student debt traps millions in a cycle of borrowed wealth.